Winterbourne was built for John and Margaret Nettlefold in 1904. Winterbourne was designed by Joseph Lancaster Ball, a leading Birmingham architect. Winterbourne comforts included electric lighting, gas fires, toilets on 2 floors, and 3 bathrooms. The design of the house was intended to make the best use of available light. Its features include large windows, white painted paneling, and south-facing rooms. Furniture that we can see in the house dating from the late Victorian period to the 1920s. John was born into one of the Birmingham's most successful industrial dynasties, which had made its money from manufacturing screws. John worked briefly for the family firm and later Kynex, another major Birmingham company. Winterbourne was built with the money Johnny made working in his family business, Nettlefolds Limited, and later for Kynex Limited. Both were metal manufacturing companies. The items on display were once used in University House, the university's first woman hall of residence. Winterbourne House was an annex to it, providing additional bedrooms and common rooms. Currently, we are looking at full-length portrait of Margaret Nettlefold from 1904. It was painted soon after the family moved into Winterbourne House. It shows Margaret entering the dining room from the veranda, carrying some cut flowers from the garden. Margaret Chamberlain was a middle-class girl born in 1871. Birmingham was an exciting place to live for her. The town was a thriving centre for arts and culture and an industrial powerhouse. Margaret was one of the first pupils at Edgbaston High School for Girls. Later, she studied drawing and painting at the renowned Birmingham School of Arts. Except studies, Margaret had a busy social life, plenty of fancy dress parties, theatre trips, and holidays. John and Margaret married in 1891. They were second cousins, and their families were closely connected through business and local politics. John and Margaret lived in South Wales and then in Selly Oak. In 1904, they moved into Winterbourne, the dream home they had designed together for their family. They had 6 surviving children. After leaving the nursery, the Nettlefold children moved to their own bedrooms. The term teenager was not widely used until 1940s, and all the children were expected to act as adults. They spent their time occupied in activities such as reading, taking part in plays, dancing, drawing, and painting. Their 2 daughters, Nina and Evie, were lucky to be able to study in Paris in their late teens. The Nettlefolds' only surviving son, John Kenrick Nettlefold, was 7 when his family moved into the Winterbourne house. He spent much of his childhood exploring and playing in the garden. Ken would have participated in sports such as cricket, rugby, and polo. Edwardian men would have considered adopting a recognized profession in law, politics, military service, or the church. Ken chose the church, much to his mother's disappointment, who had hoped he would become involved in the family business. The garden contains many plants from all over the world. We can find there an orchid house, alpine garden, arid house and hazel tunnel. Other features of the garden include a restored wooden pergola, sunken rock garden and a glass house. The Nettlefolds lived in the house with their children until John's health deteriorated and he had to move away. In 1919, Margaret sold the house and moved away to be closer to her husband. The property was then bought by the Wheelock family, who had 9 children. Wheelock was a local lawyer and stayed at Winterbourne until 1925, when it was purchased by John Nicholson, who was a successful businessman. John MacDonald Nicholson was the third and last private owner of the house and a keen gardener. He developed many new areas, including a scree garden and a small alpine features around the garden. Nicholson died in 1944 and bequeathed the house and garden to the University of Birmingham. The garden became the university's botanic garden, and new areas for teaching and plant conservation were developed within the historic layout.